Welcome in to the latest episode of the Betting the Pitch podcast, specifically focused on the top five European soccer leagues. We have a normal week this time. Finally, we are going to be covering Europe, starting in England, going through Spain, Italy, Germany, and France. Maybe not necessarily in that order, but we will be giving a best bet. We're 71% so far this season, 37 and 15 year to date. And as soon as I can make sure that I am set this up correctly and get this tweeted out so people know that I'm live on a rare Thursday night, I'm traveling down to San Antonio from where I live in Dallas, Texas, to attend a third straight Final Four. I think it will be for me. Houston last year, Phoenix or Glendale, and this year San Antonio. And I think will be my fourth ever, as I had been to Houston before. A long time ago in 2011. First time getting all number one seeds, but you're not here for that. You're here for soccer and for bets for this weekend. And that's what we're going to cover. We're going to do a 1 minute ultimate best bet video, which is where this record 37, 15, 71% comes from. I pick one of my favorite plays from each of the leagues: English Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, the German Bundesliga, and Ligue in France. And it's about to be time to get into it. So now that I hope everyone has settled in, I do have comments open if you want to throw something my way. Make sure that I don't miss it. And then let's get into it. And we'll start where the money is, and that is the English Premier League. So we'll start with Saturday, as we did have a midweek match day filled with English Premier League all this week. And we'll start with the early matchup: Everton hosting Arsenal. Currently, Everton a three-quarter goal underdog with all the juice. Total is 2.25, juiced all the way to under. All lines quoted courtesy of BetOnline. If you'd like a referral, please let me know. Slide on my DMs at the real underscore G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. And of course, if you want to check out all my plays across all sports, go to patreon.com/real underscore G Warner. So for this first matchup, Everton, great defense, but a little bit of a flat spot potentially coming off a Merseyside derby where they played Liverpool on the road at Anfield during the week. Arsenal with another big injury to Gabriel Magalhaes, if I'm not pronouncing that last name right, apologies. Gabriel is done for the season. Joins, let's see, I guess Bukayo Saka is potentially back and was on the bench for the match this week, but ultimately joining Kai Havertz, who's done for the season as well. So Arsenal, of course, with the look ahead towards Real Madrid, might balance out Everton coming off of a Liverpool match, but ultimately that's the I guess part of what we're betting here. I lean to the home underdog. I like the three-quarters of a goal. We'll certainly be waiting to see if this hits a full goal of insurance, so the juice doesn't point that way. I wouldn't just jump on that yet, though. I think there's a good chance we might get a full goal of insurance at a reasonable price on Everton. We'll see, and of course, up to you what reasonable means. Total here, 2.25, juiced all the way to under. It'd be really weird to see an Arsenal total at two, but I think that reflects the lack of goals that are seen in Everton matches. And of course, with Arsenal, even away from home, usually dominating possession, I lean that way to under 2.25 as well. And I think there's probably a little more value there, though you're likely playing at two unless we see some sort of change in fortune based on where the juice currently lays. Moving to the big window on Saturday morning here in the United States, we'll go to Ipswich Town, a pick'em to Wolverhampton Wanderers, and this is a big battle, probably the last stand for Ipswich, potentially their Alamo, if you will, with the Final Four theme to this weekend. Ipswich Town currently a pick'em, a little bit more juice than Wolves away. Totals 2.25, juice all the way to over. And I don't really see a lot of goals in this matchup. I think Wolves know that if they go on the road and get a win here, they're pretty much all good and will be safe, as that's kind of where the narrative has gone covering the Premier League and the relegation battle. Though honestly, if they go and get a draw here, I feel like that's also still very good. And if Ipswich do somehow get a home win, Wolves just know that they'll need to make up some points somewhere else. And Ipswich, being a promoted side, probably won't ever win enough matches to pass them with so few remaining. But I'll lean to the home underdog here. It's slight at the moment, so it's pick 'em at best. Probably not a ton of interest for me until we get to a quarter goal underdog, and then I will have a lot of it because I think Wolves will very happily take a draw away from home. Total's 2.25 in this one, just all the way to over. I lean to under, and that's probably my biggest interest at the moment. There is, I think, a good chance that we see Wolves just batting up the hatches and trying to defend late instead of going for a win. Of course, I don't think Ipswich is going. I mean, this is the big match for them and a much bigger match for them than it is for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But with that said, I don't think Ipswich is setting a goalkeeper up if they're tied late. That would be an ultimately terrible thing if you have an under or really the underdog, the home underdog. That'd be even worse if the match is tied at that point. trailing. Probably wouldn't be the worst thing because at least you get another head out there, potentially score a goal, even Provedel style from Lazio a couple Champions League seasons ago. We'll move next. Crystal Palace hosting Brighton. Currently, Palace a quarter goal favorite at home. All the juice on Brighton totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. I feel like Brighton are getting a little respect here, only be a quarter goal underdog, but honestly, Crystal Palace has started to be treated like a really good team all of a sudden. And they played really well. They were able to go on the road and knock out Fulham in the FA Cup this past weekend. And then, of course, the Premier League played a midweek match day this week. I think the big question is what we're going to get and what this lineup's going to look like for Palace because they've been playing their best players a lot. And there's eventually going to be a day of reckoning that might see some rotation. Eberechi Eze is probably the biggest concern, but we'll see when the lineups come out on Saturday morning in the United States here, and of course in the afternoon in Europe. But I think Brighton, I mean, as an underdog, they're interesting. Selhurst Park is a really tough place to go in previous seasons. It hasn't been so hard this year, but Crystal Palace have been improving what started out as a really, really bad home form. I think Brighton, though, they've got enough talent that I think I have some interest in them getting getting a single quarter of a goal plus 0.25. And then for the total, I just feel like Palace's defense is stellar, and I don't really expect to see a lot of goals here. So under 2 3/4 feels like a really high price total. It's very juiced the moment to under, but even then, 2.5 would be fine with me. We'll move next to West Ham United hosting Bournemouth. Currently, West Ham a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice totals 2 3/4 juice all the way to under. Bournemouth they had an FA Cup match with Manchester City this past weekend at home, and then the Premier League match, of course. So they're playing 3 matches in the time that West Ham will only be playing 2, and the West Ham crowd with all their bubbles and such is a good position to be looking towards the underdog. So I'll put that quarter of a goal on my list. Also lean to under 2 3/4. Bournemouth to me are a sit deep and counter type of team. That's the underneath Iraola way. And seeing them in their performance this year, it's disappointing because I feel like this would have been an underdog in the past, but unfortunately they've done so well. They've outkicked their coverage, if you will. Don't want to, I guess, bring up any racist American journalism websites, and I use journalism in big quotes, but unfortunately, I think Bournemouth have reached a peak valuation, and it's made it really hard to back them for me. But I guess gives us an opportunity on a home underdog here. To the last match, nightcap on Saturday, we have Aston Villa hosting Nottingham Forest. Currently, Villa a half a goal favorite at home with all the juice on Nottingham Forest. Totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. I'm not sure the status of Chris Wood in this one after not starting the past couple matches, coming back from the international break, as I believe he was injured with New Zealand. Aston Villa, meanwhile, are looking ahead to Champions League next week, and I think there's a lot of value in a road team that's going to go play a lot of defense and try to force Aston Villa to beat them, and then kind of try to break on the counterattack and put their speed in space. So lean to the half of a goal on Nottingham Forest and lean to under 2 3/4. We'll move to Sunday. We have Fulham hosting Liverpool. Currently, Fulham a half a goal underdog at home. All the juice on Liverpool away. Totals 2 3/4, juice all the way to under. Now, Liverpool, I mean, they need to win the Premier League because they've basically been bounced out of every other competition and have no chance at another trophy. Disappointing, but happens. I think Fulham have been really, after a great start to the season, they've kind of been taking on water and have kind of been sinking. The big question is how they respond to going out of the FA Cup. They did have Premier League midweek to kind of distract them or change their minds, but this is a really big test. With that said, I like the home underdog. I'm not sure half of a goal is enough for me right now, but the juice is pointing higher, and we might see more before the Sunday morning kickoff. And I'll lean to under 2 3/4. I just don't really see Liverpool as an incredible offense at this point. Trent Alexander-Arnold is hurt, and there's a lot of questions in that direction. Him leaving is basically taking a defender off the pitch they can't defend and removing one of their best creators. Moving next to Brentford, a quarter goal underdog at home to Chelsea. Total is 3 in this one, juice all the way to over. A little more juice on the Chelsea favorite away from home. They played the Thursday only standalone match with Tottenham. Now they, I guess, go from West London to West London because these are neighbors. But Brentford, I think, as the much smaller club, will see this as the big brother coming into town, and they will take this match a lot more seriously. I'll lean to the home underdog getting a quarter of a goal, as I don't really think I have any fear of fading Chelsea at this point in the season. Speaking of Tottenham, goal and a half favorites at home to Southampton. Totals 3.5, juice all the way to under. All the juice on Southampton away. I mean, Tottenham have made it clear that they're playing for Europa League. That's the best chance for Ange Postecoglou to get the trophy that he promised. Like, always win something in his second year, as he said. Either he wins that or he's probably sacked. At this point, I'll lean to Southampton getting a big price, but I am terrified of backing them, so I probably will stay far away from that one. Two matches left to go of Manchester United hosting Manchester City and a Manchester derby. Currently, Manchester United quarter goal underdogs at home, all the juice on Man City away. Total is 2 3/4, juice all the way to over. Lean to the home dog, but I just don't really trust Manchester United to score goals. That's a big problem. I don't really trust Man City to defend, though, so that does give them a little bit more hope or more of a chance. I lean to under 2 3/4, so I'd love to get a push on three, and it looks like it might come available before kickoff on Sunday. And to Monday, we have Leicester City, a 1 1/4 goal underdog at home to Newcastle. Total is three, just all the way to under. Newcastle are really good, have, I think, been a lot better away from home this season. Leicester City have been a disaster. They're going down to the championship, which they just came back from after 1 year down, but I guess the parachute payments will probably bring them back again 2 years from now. With that said, I'll lean to the home underdog getting more than a goal at home as they're trying to cling to whatever life they still have in the English Premier League and the English top division. I lean to under three just because Leicester can't score, but those are scary plays there potentially if you're getting on that matchup. From the English Premier League, I got to make my favorite pick, and from England, I will go with I'll go Brentford quarter goal underdog at home to Chelsea. I'm really looking to try to fade Chelsea as much as possible. We'll move now to La Liga in Spain, as I just want to check to make sure no comments came in. Feel free to drop something in here if you are in the live stream. If not, thank you for listening. If you're on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, if you can leave a 5-star review, it's huge for the search rankings. If you are not on either of those platforms, if you're on YouTube at the real underscore G Warner, please subscribe. You can join recent subscribers like Jason Sheary, also one of my Patreon subscribers, also Julian Cooper, who's a new name, who I hope to find a way to my Patreon, patreon.com/real_G Warner. Now that this is reposted, I'll go to Spain. We'll start on Friday. Rayo Vallecano hosting Espanyol. Currently, Rayo a 3/4 goal favorite. More juice on Espanyol. Total is two, juice all the way to over. So these are two very quiet offenses. Espanyol have had really great home results and bad road results all season. I think they've been kind of fixing those, not being as dominant at home, but being better away. Rayo Vallecano defensive side that really struggled for part of the season and then started to play very well. I'm just not a believer in their offense being a likely lopsided winner. 1-0 will certainly pay off for an Espanyol bet. You lose half of it, but you'll win your under two. And that's probably where I'm going and will likely be on this Friday matchup. I just think that there's probably no chance we get to +1, though I'll certainly be looking out for it. But I think the under is very valuable, and we might even get a 2 1/4 before kickoff. Moving to Saturday, we'll start with Girona hosting Alaves. Currently, Girona a quarter goal favorite at home with all the juice. Totals 2 1/4, juice more to the over. Alaves, I don't trust the score. This does feel pretty cheap on Girona at home, but they haven't played great this year and certainly are nowhere near their Champions League form of last season. I think biggest interest for me is under 2 1/4. I just don't think Alaves can score, but they need to stay competitive, and so that means really defending Girona. Moving to Real Madrid hosting Valencia, of course, looking over towards Arsenal in Champions League. Currently, Real Madrid a 1.5 goal favorite to Valencia. Total is three, just all the way to over. We saw Valencia collapse late in a match. I think they were leading and lost in stoppage times. Real Madrid first leg, it was a rescheduled match, I believe, after the tragedy of Dana, the floods in Valencia this earlier, I guess in late 2024. But Valencia are interesting to me just based on getting Real Madrid in a great spot. The problem is it's really hard to trust them. They've been playing higher scoring matches than I was expecting. I'll lean probably most strongly to under three, like the 1.5 on the underdog, but Real Madrid have been great at home and honestly have been very good in bad spots as well. We'll move next to Mallorca, a pick'em at home to Celta de Vigo. I guess I had a Turkish C on my mind, but Mallorca, pick'em, almost all the juice, totals 2 1/4, juice all the way to under. So Mallorca, they've been really great on the island for years. That's what's kept them in La Liga, but they haven't really had a great 2025. And I'm not necessarily believing that's going to change too much. However, Celta de Vigo, they continue to not start Iago Aspas, their talisman. I don't know if that's age, injury, combination of the both. I think Mallorca are certainly of interest at pick'em for me, but I'll lean to under 2 1/4 as well, as I don't see a lot of goals in that matchup. To the last matchup of the Saturday card, we'll go Barcelona hosting Real Betis. Currently 1.5 goal favorites are Barcelona at home. Totals 3.5, juice a little bit more to under, a little bit more juice on Real Betis away. Barcelona with Champions League coming up as well. Real Betis on the other side, they are, I guess, focused on Conference League, but ultimately, I think there's going to be goals in this matchup, which makes the underdog and under in deep threat for how this match goes. If I got to pick something, I'll probably lean to Betis getting a goal and a half, but I'm not sure it's a strong one for the Saturday nightcap. Move to Sunday. Las Palmas was in Real Sociedad. Currently, Las Palmas a quarter goal underdog at home with all the juice. Total is 2, juice all the way to over. Real Sociedad crashed out of Europa League, and now they have to make up some ground in Spain to climb up the table and finish in a European position. Las Palmas just trying to stay in the league. They've been playing better after changing managers way back when, early in the season, after the longest winless run I think I can remember. At least it was spanning half of last season and the beginning half of this year. But I'll lean to Las Palmas, the home underdog. I think under 2 is my bigger interest in. Under 2.25 looks potentially likely in that early one on Sunday. Moving next to Sevilla, hosting Atletico Madrid. Currently Sevilla quarter goal underdog at home with more juice on Atleti. Total is 2.25, juice very heavily to under. Sevilla are not a goal scoring team. They're a possession team. Atletico Madrid crashed out of the Champions League, unfortunately, in that penalty shootout. I think it was my 5th straight consecutive shootout loss, unfortunately. And now they have, of course, or they had Copa del Rey midweek, second leg with Barcelona, and now they go to Sevilla. So at least that was at home, but this one is away, and I think that puts Sevilla in a really good position. I'll lean to the quarter of a goal, but it's probably not enough for me. Just Atleti are so strong and so deep, but I'll lean to under 2.25, and I think there's some value there. Real Valladolid then hosts Getafe. Currently Valladolid a half of a goal underdog at home with more juice. Totals 1.75, juice all the way to over. I'll be waiting for this one to climb to 2, as I don't really bet unders below 2 slash I don't, not I don't really, I do not. I think there's very important push on 2, and anything less than that with the amount of penalties given in Spain, the penaltitos that they said where they weren't going to give, the little penalties from years and years ago, they do, and they're horrible, and they kill any sort of bet that you're looking to play. I think the Valladolid home underdog is interesting as well, just because Getafe is a road favorite doesn't seem to add up, though Valladolid have been horrible, and it probably means that's probably not worth actually stepping into. To the nightcap on Sunday, we have Villarreal hosting Atletico Bilbao. Currently, Villarreal quarter goal favorites with a little more juice. Totals 2.5. Juice very heavily to over. And Athletic Club do have Europa League on their minds, especially because they're hosting the final. So we'll see how that ends up going. But lean to them as a road underdog. I think they're a really good squad, and anytime I can get Athletic Club as an underdog, I'm interested. Plus, we got Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So we got 3 days in between matches until Europa League. So I think that's a good chance that they go all out. They need to climb the La Liga table. It looks like Champions League will probably be there for them next season, whether they win the Europa League or not. On the Villarreal side, they're a goal-scoring team. They don't defend very well, so no interest for me really in an under there. To Monday, Leganés hosting Osasuna. Leganés a surprise pick'em at home with more juice. Totals 2.25, just very heavily to under. I lean to Osasuna. I'd love to see them get a quarter of a goal, but that's really just me wanting to be against Leganés, who I don't trust to score goals. So with that said, I'll lean to under 2.25 in that matchup. As for my best bet on, I guess, on La Liga in this week of April 4th, I'm going to go with Atletico Bilbao, quarter goal underdogs on the road at Villarreal. That's my biggest interest in that one. Let me make sure I note that down correctly. We'll move now to Serie A in Italy, and we'll start. I might have jumped the gun on actually recording this podcast. I don't think I finished all the lines here. Oops. Well, we'll do what we got, and then I'll fill in the. I guess you have to check out patreon.com/real_G Warner for more Italian Serie A plays. We'll start on Friday with Genoa hosting Udinese. Currently, Genoa a quarter goal on. Actually, no, I think I did this. Okay, let's use current lines, and I think I did all this whole thing. Let's hope so. If not, I'm looking at lines for the first time with some of you. Oh well, so be it. Genoa quarter goal favorite at home to Udinese. Total is 2, just a little bit more to over, and very juice on the Udinese side. And I think the reason for that, as I adjust my chair, is because Udinese has been scoring goals this year, and Genoa have been great at defending them. But they have to win as a favorite, and that's hard to do. It's really expensive Udinese right now, but I'll lean to that quarter of a goal, and I'll lean to under 2. Moving to Saturday, Monza hosting Como. Two teams that were, I guess one was expected to stay, one was expected to stay, even though they were promoted side. Well, Monza look in real danger, and Como have been playing very well and have been getting bet all season. Now Monza a 3/4 goal home underdog to a newly promoted side, despite being in the league for many seasons now. That's surprising. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. I don't really trust Como's defense, and Monza haven't been able to score. So I don't know. I mean, there's definitely value in the 3/4 of a goal. I don't think anyone would have had this number this way coming into the season, even with all the or even with all the Como love. With that said, I guess I'll lean to under 2.5. That's really based on the home underdog not being able to score, and that's dangerous if they do concede because each goal that goes in makes the next one even more likely. We'll move next to Parma hosting Inter Milan, coming off of their Coppa Italia first leg with Milan in their home stadium. Now they travel to Parma. Parma, 1 goal underdog, all the juice on Inter. Totals 2 3/4, juice more to the over. Parma are not really an offensive team anymore. They started the year that way. They've either become pragmatic or maybe they've been figured out. Big price at home, of course. Inter, I do like home underdogs getting a full goal of insurance, and it looks like this might even climb higher. Lean to under 2 3/4 as well, just because Inter are coming off a vicious Coppa Italia match midweek. But at the same time, I don't know how much I want to get involved in there. And there is Champions League coming on the horizon for Inter, so that's a nice thing as well for Parma. Moving to Saturday evening with Milan hosting Fiorentina in probably the biggest match of the weekend. I guess there's a Juventus and Roma one coming up, so that might be arguably bigger. But Milan, half a goal favorite, juice to split both ways. Totals 2 3/4, juice more to the under pretty heavily as of right now. Milan, I just don't trust. They don't really defend, and I would probably be most interested in Fiorentina getting a half of a goal. Go get a result on the road, and you win your bet. Moving to Sunday, we'll start with Lecce hosting Venezia. Currently, Lecce, quarter goal favorite. More juice on Venezia. Totals 2 1/4, and it's juiced all the way to under. I think we see that as Venezia not scoring goals, really defending very well. Lecce have similar problems, so I don't know how we get to 3 goals here. And I'll probably, I'd love to play the 2 1/4. It's very juiced at the moment. I don't think I'd be too afraid of playing the under 2 if it does fall there with potentially better juice. We'll move to the next match. Empoli hosting Cagliari. Currently, Empoli at Pick'em with all the juice. Totals 2 1/4. Just a little bit more to over. Empoli coming off a surprise semifinal in Coppa Italia. So they are really under the gun for because they had been rotating for Coppa Italia, but I think they realized they're in the semifinal for the first time, that maybe in a long time, and maybe they might not get back there for a while. So they kind of played what felt like a stronger lineup than I was expecting, though certainly some midfield rotation. Cagliari have been really conservative away from home, and I don't really expect that to change too much. But if there's ever a time for them to be aggressive, it's taking advantage of a weary relegation fighting side. And most of the time, relegation sides are not deep enough to handle 2 matches in a week, especially not a cup match, and especially not while Cagliari didn't play. So lean to Cagliari, especially as a road underdog here. I don't have the quarter of a goal yet, probably waiting for it. So I guess my biggest interest is under 2 1/4. We'll see what Empoli puts out there for a lineup. Moving next to Torino hosting Verona. Currently Torino a half a goal favorite at home with all the juice. Total is 2, juice all the way to over. Verona are not a great goal scoring team, but I think you could say that same thing about Torino as well. Total at 2 is pretty low, but I think is reflective of where these teams are. It's very juiced to over, so we might get a 2 1/4 before it kicks off, and that's probably my biggest interest. I'll take the under 2 right now. Atalanta then hosts Lazio. Currently Atalanta 3/4 goal favorites with more juice. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. Lazio have been playing really well to start the season, but have kind of drifted since then. Atalanta, it's really hard to predict. Unfortunately, they've had, I think, a really kind of poor, mediocre season compared to their now lofty standards. But crashed to the Champions League, lost in Coppa Italia as a favorite. Now they got, I guess, their last thing is to try to do really well in the league. Lazio do have Europa League on the horizon, so maybe that puts Atalanta in a better position. I still think Lazio are a decent underdog here, and if they can get to full goal of insurance, it's going to be hard for me to pass up. So I'll lean to that 3/4 of a goal, and I guess to under 2.5 at the current number as well. Roma to Juventus, that's the big, I guess, Sunday match. They usually, I guess, make the biggest one of the weekend on Sunday, so I shouldn't have said that Milan and Fiorentina was big, but it's a 1B to this 1A. Roma quarter goal favorites at home with all the juice on Juventus away. Totals 2 1/4, juice more to the under. Neither of these sides are playing in any sort of European disappointing season for, I think, Italy fully is only Inter are representing. But Roma is the favorite at home. Reflects how well they've played there this year, but I think that's also a reflection of how poorly they played away, which makes their home record look great. I'll lean to Juve, though they're a very expensive quarter goal underdog. I don't really know that I want too much to do with that. I think under 2 1/4 also has some value. Moving to Monday with Bologna, a pick'em. All the juice on Napoli away. Total is 2, juice pretty heavily to over. Bologna coming off of their Coppa Italia. Now they get to play at home, but they're an underdog. So I'm interested there. They've got a lot of time to rest for this matchup. And then Coppa Italia, I don't think, comes back for a little while. Napoli on the other side, they've not been impressive to me. And especially as a road favorite, if they climb to a quarter goal favorite, it's going to be impossible for you to lay off. I think for now, I'll lean to Bologna at Pick'em, and I'll lean to under two because I think Napoli will determine the style, and that is a low scoring matchup. For my best bet from Italy, I'll go with Venezia under 2.25 goals. I think it's going to be really hard to see three in that one. We'll move next to Ligue 1 in France. And let me make sure I didn't miss any comments. Thank you, all of you that are joining us live. And I'll come back because I don't see any. Nice, a 1 goal favorite to Nantes. Total is 2.75, just more to the under. A lot of juice on Nice as a home favorite, as a 1 goal home favorite, that is. Nantes are always a team I want to back. Love Antoine Comboire, their manager, great defensive mind, and I feel like he pulls results that the market usually doesn't expect, respect, or anything like that. I'll take Nantes a 1 goal underdog, and I'll lean to under 2.75 as well. Nice have been scoring a ton of goals this year, despite hiring a very defensive manager, at least one with a very defensive record at Lens. I don't know that I see it or believe it, and I think there's some value in playing underdog and under here, potentially splitting, potentially a win and a push, or maybe winning both if not come to play. Let's move to Saturday. PSG hosting Angers. They do have Champions League upcoming with the surprise elimination of Liverpool. PSG a 2.5 goal favorite at home to Angers. Totals four, just all the way to under. More juice on the Angers side. Angers have been good, but they haven't really been playing at the level that they had for a little while this season when they clearly made it look like they're a much better team than the more famous Saint Etienne, and then really had a good run in the Coupe de France, but I think we're kind of stuck in between trying to decide which if they wanted to play for that or to play for Ligue 1, and I feel like they kind of went in a rut after that. But they're big underdogs here. I don't think I want much to do with even a 2.5 or a four. PSG just look like they're so. I mean, everyone knows they're the best in France, but they've been leaps and bounds ahead of everyone else. Moving next to Stade Brestois hosting Monaco. Currently, Brest a 0.5 goal favorite. Or excuse me, 0.5 goal underdog at home with a little bit more juice. Totals 2.75, juiced all the way to over. Now Monaco's offense has been great. Bireth was so hot when he came into the team, but I don't really trust them. And road favorites that go to Brest, it's just, I mean, we saw it in Champions League, it doesn't work. I'll lean to Stade Brestois, a 0.5 goal underdog. And I don't know that I want to play unders with Monaco really ever. Though, honestly, Adi Huta is one of the more defensive managers they've had since I've been following the sport. To the Saturday nightcap with Lyon hosting Lille. Currently, Lyon, quarter goal favorite at home. Almost all the juice on Lille away. Totals 2.75, just more to the under. So Lyon are a great offense. Lille have been, I mean, crashing out of the Champions League with a lead on their own pitch in their home stadium in the second leg. I mean, brutal. Another killer. Ouch. But they've kind of been rocking for a while after a really great start to the season. I lean to Lille as the road underdog just because I think Lyon also have some troubles. But I don't know. It's a little bit scary because I think we could see goals here, and that certainly makes the quarter goal underdog less important. Move to Sunday of Lens hosting Saint Etienne. Currently Lens 1 goal favorite, a little bit more juice on Saint Etienne away. Total is three, juice all the way to under. Saint Etienne, they've been horrible away from home, but Lens does not really concede any goals there. So I think under three with a push on three is interesting, at least to me. Saint Etienne are not in a position where they're just throwing everything to the wall, trying to outscore you, though they might need to based on their road defense. But I think the push on three is valuable considering Lens' home defense, though the home atmosphere certainly could beat up Saint Etienne's side without throwing things or projectiles from the crowd. We'll move next to Rennes hosting Angers. Currently, Stade Rennais, 0.5 goal favorite at home with more juice. Totals 2.5, just more to the over. Angers have been very competitive, promoted side from Ligue 2. The big question is, can they hang with a Rennes side that have honestly started to defend much better, and that's been why they've climbed out of once their third manager of the season took over. I'll lean to Angers because I just like the idea that they can score goals. I think the unders, I think it also correlates with the home team and the style they want to play, though I'm a little bit less interested there because Angers are going to try to outscore you, and they do have the offense to do it. Stade de Reims then hosts Strasbourg, coming off of a surprise Coupe de France semifinal. Reims a quarter goal underdog at home. All the juice on Strasbourg, totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. Reims are interesting to me as a home underdog, but I gotta say it's hard to want to look at them because of Coupe de France midweek. plus Strasbourg have been better or more talented, and Reims have been really struggling in Ligue 1. And I do think there is a difference. How you perform in one competition really doesn't matter how you perform in another. And any good performances in Coupe de France does not bail out Stade de Reims fighting relegation in the French top division. Move next to Montpellier hosting Le Havre, another battle at the bottom. Montpellier pick 'em with all the juice, totals 2.5, juice more to the over. Le Havre, they're a defensive side going away from home. I'll look to see if they climb to a quarter goal underdog. Not so interested to pick them right now, but I lean to under 2.5, as I think this is a tooth and nail fight for points, and we might not even see a goal. Though probably one goal will be made from a mistake would be my expectation. Last but not least, Marseille hosting Toulouse. Currently, Marseille a quarter goal favorite with more juice on Toulouse away. Totals 2 3/4 juice all the way to under. Marseille, they've been, I mean, they're so fickle, they're so hard to predict. Toulouse are really good against better teams, though. So I'll be waiting to see if Toulouse climb to 1 goal underdog. We don't have that yet. It feels like they're a little cheap right now, which might mean that there's a fair amount of money in France backing the road underdog here. As for my best bet in Ligue 1 in France, I'm going to go with. Hmm, just tempted. I mean, the three is a really nice number for a push for Lens and Saint Etienne. It's just really hard to trust the Saint Etienne defense away. I'll go with Montpellier Le Havre under 2.5 goals on Sunday. And that brings me to the last portion of this episode. Uh, Thank you for those of you that have been with me the whole time. And of course, if you're listening on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify, hit a 5-star review, throw in a comment if you'd like me to answer something, or just write something, and I'll read it. Whatever it is, doesn't matter as long as it's not hate speech or telling Trump to do more tariffs. I don't know. We'll start on April 4th on Friday with Football Club Augsburg hosting Bayern München. And this has been a really tough game for Bayern in the past. Currently, Augsburg, a 1 1/4 goal underdog at home, totals 2 3/4. What a small total for Bayern, juiced all the way to over. So I'm waiting to see this hit three. That's probably a minimum for me to play the under, but I lean to Augsburg as the home underdog just because I think there's a lot of value in going against Bayern with Champions League coming up. And this number certainly suggests it. Plus, Augsburg have been playing very well, and they've got good history against Bayern München, though it certainly is a hold your nose at home to fade Bayern. Moving to Saturday of Leipzig hosting Hoffenheim. Currently, Leipzig a 1 goal favorite with all the juice. Total is 3, just all the way to over. A lot of goals expected for a side like Leipzig, who just played in the DFB Pokal. TSG Hoffenheim have not been playing well, but they have been better about not conceding as many goals. They're not scoring many, so I'll lean to that under 3, and it looks like we might even get under 3 1/4 before kickoff. We'll move next to TSG Hoffenheim. Excuse me, that was just what I just said. We'll move to Heidenheim hosting Bayer Leverkusen. Currently, Heidenheim a 1 1/4 goal underdog with more juice. Total is 3, juice all the way to under. Leverkusen also coming off of a road trip in the DFB Pokal to Arminia Bielefeld of the third tier, the Zweitliga. Heidenheim are lucky, but they are a big underdog for a reason. I think I backed Heidenheim +2 in this reverse fixture at Leverkusen. They took a 2-0 lead and lost 5-2, if I remember correctly. Brutal. I lean to the home underdog just based on having a better rest position. But Bayer Leverkusen really have the Pokal, and I guess their chase for, I guess, the Meisterschale to win the Bundesliga, but they are 8 points back, I think. So, like, I don't know if that's going to change too much. With that said, I don't think I want much to do with it under here. So Heidenheim are not an under team anyway. Sports Club Freiburg, as I wear their kit, they are hosting Borussia Dortmund with Champions League coming up. If there's ever a time for Freiburg to get them, though they've certainly struggled with Borussia Dortmund over the years, it is now in front of their home crowd. Let's do it. Sports Club Freiburg, they're a quarter goal underdog at home with more juice. Totals 2 3/4, juice pretty heavily to under. That's a low total. It's a tire screech outside. Yikes. Hopefully no glass I hear smashing in a second. Haven't heard that yet. I'll link to Freiburg as a quarter goal underdog at home. I think they're in a great position to catch Borussia Dortmund sleeping, and they've been so bad away from home. I'm very interested there. We'll move next to Mainz 05 hosting Holstein Kiel. Currently Mainz a 1 1/4 goal underdog. Excuse me, 1 1/4 goal favorite at home. All the juice on Holstein Kiel, the road underdog. Total is 3, juice all the way to under. And honestly, Mainz has been scoring so much. Holstein Kiel's defense has been bad. I don't think I want much to do to this one. Move next to the last match in the early window on Saturday. VfL Bochum hosting VfB Stuttgart. Currently, Bochum a quarter goal underdog at home with more juice on Stuttgart. Total is 3, juice all the way to over. Stuttgart coming off Copa, the DFB Pokal midweek, the German Cup. Not a great position to then go on the road as a favorite. So sign me up for Bochum, a quarter goal underdog, and I'll lean to under three, as that's the game that Bochum want to play. Stuttgart want the ball, and I think there's going to be some weary legs or some rotation, and that might limit some goals that we haven't really been seeing for Stuttgart ever since Champions League ended, which is surprising because you thought that they would be a lot more energized once they were eliminated from that competition. To the top spiel, the best match on Saturday, we have Werder Bremen hosting Eintracht Frankfurt. Currently, Bremen a pick'em at home, all the juice on Eintracht Frankfurt away. They do have Europa League coming up. Total is 3, just all the way to over. I'll lean to the home underdog here. Would love to see them actually get a quarter of a goal, but we don't have that yet. And I'll lean to under, but it's really scary with the Werder Bremen defense. Though I got to say, Eintracht Frankfurt have not been getting a ton of respect since they sold Oliver Mamouche. Move to Sunday, and then we'll wrap up this baby and get you a best bet and get out of here. St. Pauli, a pick'em with all the juice right now at home to Borussia Mönchengladbach. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to over. St. Pauli, you can't trust them to score. So if they move to a favorite, I will be looking toward the other side. I think they are 2 home shutouts away from tying the record for Bundesliga sides that have not scored goals at home or clean sheets kept against a home team. I think they were at 9 last time I checked in, and they've got to get to 11 to tie a team that was like the worst in Bundesliga history. Well, St. Pauli's been good away. That's where they find goals, but I don't really trust them to score them. So I'll lean to Gladbach, but I'll lean to under 2.5. I think that's the game that St. Pauli will play everywhere, and I think there's some value there. Last but not least, Union Berlin hosting VfL Wolfsburg. Union Berlin, a quarter goal favorite at home. All the juice on Wolfsburg away. Totals 2.5, juice all the way to under. I don't trust Union to score at all. Their defense has been worse this year, but Wolfsburg are going to sit in and really defend. So I'll lean to that quarter of a goal, and I'll lean to under 2.5 in that matchup as well. And that'll be my best bet, I think, also for the German Bundesliga, which will then push into the ultimate best bet coming in just 1 second. I'll go with that Union Berlin Wolfsburg under 2.5 goals in Sunday Bundesliga action. So that brings us to the end of the show, but we're not done yet. Stick with us. Anything in the comment box? Don't see any, but I guess no one expecting the Thursday episode, considering I've been doing Friday night forever. But I guess that's what travel will do to someone. You have to figure out your priorities and schedule accordingly. We did a baseball podcast tonight, Munaf Manji and I, on the pregame.com podcast network. You can find that at pregame now on Twitter. Also, where you find your podcast, RJ Bell's Dream Preview. Speaking of mine, Betting the Pitch, where you might be listening here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave a 5-star review if you could. Hit subscribe on YouTube at The Real _ G Warner. We've recently lost an F1 podcast, and I'll be doing that weekly throughout the season with Roscoe Poop Scoop on Twitter. Bizarre, but I guess once the fan account is made, we can't change it. So there we go. I know you can, but we're not going to. And then we'll be doing a live Final Four edition episode from San Antonio with that Big East Ben on the pregame.com podcast network, still found at pregame now and on RJ Bell's Dream Preview Twitter feed or I guess podcast feed, wherever you get your podcasts. But it's time to get into this. Once I set up this little camera thing, I'm going to then, I guess, pack really quickly, go to sleep, and then get on the way towards San Antonio. And then I guess it'll be another big weekend here at Betting the Pitch. Check out patreon.com/real_G Warner for all my plays across all sports. Let's get into it. Hey, this is Real _ G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the ultimate best bet portion of the show. We are 35-17. Nope, that's wrong. I'm going to have to start this over. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Hey, this is Real _ G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. We are 37-15, 71% on the ultimate best bet for this Betting the Pitch soccer podcast. I go through the top 5 European soccer leagues. I give you a best bet from each of the countries, and I smash it together for that best bet coming end of show. From English Premier League, I like Brentford, a quarter goal underdog. In La Liga in Spain, I like Atletico Madrid, a quarter goal underdog. That seems wrong. That's actually under 2.25. There we go. Even better. And now I have to do this a third time. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to delete everything off this thing. Yeah, that's under 2.25. That's what I meant. Dang. Okay. Well, thank you for being here live. Now you can see what happens. I guess I'm struggling tonight. Hey, this is Real _ G Warner on Instagram, Patreon, Twitter, and on YouTube. This is the ultimate best bet portion of the Betting the Pitch soccer podcast. I go through the top 5 European soccer leagues. I pick my favorite bet from each of the leagues I cover. I smash it together in this 1-minute video on Apple Podcasts, Spotify for the regular podcast, but on YouTube and on Instagram at the Real _ G Warner for this 1 minute video. We are 37 and 15, 71% year to date. And this is the worst video I put together so far. But we'll start in the English Premier League. We'll go Brentford, a quarter goal underdog. In La Liga in Spain, Sevilla under 2.25. In Serie A in Italy, we'll go Venezia under 2.25 goals. In Ligue in France, we'll go Le Havre under 2.5. And in Bundesliga, we'll go in Germany, we'll go Wolfsburg under 2.5. But for the ultimate best bet on this episode, we are staying in England and we will go with Brentford, quarter goal underdogs at home to Chelsea. Get a rest advantage after playing earlier in the midweek match day, and they get to play at home against a team that's been really struggling. So take Brentford, a quarter goal underdog, for my best bet on this episode. And that'll do it. Thank you all for tuning in and dealing with whatever the heck just happened for those last 3 takes. Used to be Jay-Z. Now I guess I am Kanye or somebody else. Probably shouldn't say that too loud. Not a racist, not a racist. But anyway, thanks for joining. I will be back with you at some point next week, Monday for sure, with the Major League Baseball podcast, Munaf Manji, but Final Four likely coming Saturday night or Sunday to recap Saturday and get you going for Monday night's National College Basketball Championship game. And that's it. Time for me to go to sleep. It's too late. Thanks for those of you that joined live, but I'll see you all very soon.